Hey, how's it going? So I was looking through Limitless, the online tournament results the other day, just to see what's doing good and whatnot. And I noticed this Gengar EX doing decent a couple times. Like, they didn't make top 8 or anything, but they maybe lost their winning in. And so I figured I'd try it out. And I tried switching the list around a little bit, like adding Pidgeot to see how that would work. I played a few games with that. It wasn't very good. And I ended up sticking with their original engine. They had a 3-3 Bibarel originally, and I just cut that for a third Dark Patch and a Manaphy. Yeah, the guy was kind of living on the edge, not running a Manaphy in a deck like this. But with this deck, you're going to want to go second and try and get TM Evo, like Arven for Poffin and Evo if you can, and hopefully get down a couple Gastly and a Bidoof. The main attacker in here is Gengar EX. For 2 Dark, it does 160, and you can move an energy from your opponent's active to somewhere else, and its ability puts 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon every time they attach an energy from their hand, and that does stack. So if you have 2 Gengars out, it'll put 40 damage on it for each energy. This ability is definitely not as good as it once would have been, because most of the decks now can accelerate energy from the deck or the discard pile, so they're not actually attaching energy from hand a lot of the time. Our other attacker is Hisuian Samurott. That's our VSTAR. The VSTAR power lets us put 4 damage counters on any of our opponent's Pokemon, and then the attack does 110 plus 110 more if the Pokemon you're attacking has any damage counters on it. So it does 220, 230 essentially is what you're doing, because you need at least 1 damage counter on it. It's kind of cool. You can combo that between Gengar's ability and the VSTAR power and Radiant Alakazam moving damage around to maybe like take some sneaky knockouts. So those are your 2 main attackers. You also have the 1 prize Gengar that has an ability that lets you switch every turn, so that's pretty cool. You can also attack with that for a dark and a colorless. It does 100, and your opponent's active's put to sleep. This deck isn't the most powerful. It's kind of unfortunate. Maybe if the format didn't have such an insane amount of energy acceleration, a card like this could actually be, like tier 1 or at least tier 2. But the way it looks now, we're gonna have a ton of energy acceleration in the format for the foreseeable future. Maybe Crushing Hammers could make it better. I thought about putting those in here, but finding 4 extra spots in a stage 2 deck like this is really difficult, and I couldn't figure out what cards to cut and also keep the deck consistent enough to actually function. But yeah, let's get into the games. Alright, this first game looks like we're up against Dialga. I've been seeing quite a bit of that around lately. It is a very fun deck to play, so it makes sense. And we have a pretty good start here. But immediately we notice we prized double Gastly. That's pretty unfortunate. I'm just looking through seeing the energy count and stuff. Taking a quick peek at the prizes. I did prize my second Bibarel, but I decided to put another one down anyway. You never know when I'll get the other one off the prizes, or when I will need to like super rod if they knock out my first one. And I have another Buddy PAF in. I don't bother playing it because I don't have any more Gastly in the deck, and that would just let them know that I have no more Gastly, so maybe it would make them more likely to focus down my attacker instead of my draw engine. But other than that, this hand isn't super great. I can get a Bibarel next turn and hope to draw something. I could probably Ultra Ball away Ultra Ball Poffin and Baby Gengar and attach to the bench or something. It's unfortunate. It's kind of a hard decision because I do want the Baby Gengar. If I want to get an attack off this turn, I'm going to have to use that. But I end up going with the Gengar and the Darkness Energy because I have Dark Patch and that activates it. And I can also play the rest of my hand out and draw more with Bibarel this way. So I figured that was a better option, because I could have Skwoveted, but I wanted to keep the Gengar EX in my hand. Like that, I just draw a Rare Candy and I get to use it. And I benched the Hisuian Samurott. And debate Ionoing, it always feels bad Ionoing an opponent with a 1-card hand, but he's going to get whatever card he wants next turn. He used that Beldum's first attack that lets him put whatever card he wants on top of his deck, so he's going to get what he wants, and I'm able to retreat and attack. I'm just debating if I should move the energy anywhere there. I was thinking about moving it to the Greninja, but that gives him a free pivot, like they set it up anyway. Because the Basculin evolves into the Basculegion, which does 20 damage for each energy in the discard pile, and that's kind of like a big threat in this matchup. If they can, you know, just one-shot, or they don't even have to one-shot the first Gengar, they can two-shot it with Dialga VSTAR's VSTAR attack, and then the regular attack, and build up enough energy the next turn to take another 2 prizes. And then if they're able to take 2 prizes with the 1 prizer at any point, that is not looking great for me. They attach the TM Evo and counter catcher my Samurott. That's kind of annoying. He's a bit of a pain to get out of the active spot. And they just TM Evo. Top deck of Darkness Energy. I'll just use the Dark Patch while I can. Attach active because I have to at least start building it up, and I might just go for a TM Evo this turn if I can't get out of the active spot. Luckily they bumped my stadium, so I am able to. I don't know if there's a better stadium in this deck, but I just kept the original one. It's always pretty disruptive and can definitely come in handy. And we get the Prime Catcher, so that's pretty nice. I can get out of the active spot. I can't knock out this Dialga. The thing's pretty tanky. It's going to be hard to knock out. But I can hit into it, or I can knock out the Mew, which, I don't know. Just because they were dead drawing last turn, it seems a little bit better. Or they weren't dead drawing, but it seemed like they were relying on the Mew attack, or the Mew's ability to get them any extra cards. But once they have a VSTAR down, this deck's kind of flowing with a VSTAR and a couple Matangs. They can always get more energy. And they do get to the 5, so I'm probably getting knocked out this turn. And they single out my Hisuian Samurott VSTAR, because that is the one way that I could knock them out, is the VSTAR power, and then with the Samurott's attack. And luckily they put a little more damage on themselves. It's still not enough to knock them out. Maybe if I had gotten 2 Gengars into play sooner. I don't know, that's something to think about. I wonder if I was playing this wrong and I should have focused more on just TM Evoing a few Gengar EXs into play, just to get as much damage with each energy attachment. I didn't really think about that, because a lot, like I said in the intro, a lot of these decks just accelerate energies from the deck or from the discard pile. Like this one gets it from the deck, so it skips over Gengar's effect. But one of the cool things about this, now I can attack them for a 2-shot and move an energy onto some Pokemon where it's kind of useless. Like the Basculegion, because it attacks for free, and I don't really want them to use it as like a pivot, and they're going to want to take a 1-shot with that at some point, so they're not going to want to send it up to retreat it. Like where if I put it on the Greninja, maybe they could find a way to retreat that like this turn and the next turn. But they're just accelerating all the energy. I think they did get it more than enough to knock me out, which is pretty unfortunate. I would have liked to stay alive for another turn. And they're down to 2 prizes, so if they can get enough energy to one-shot me with the Basculegion, I just lose. I think they need 16. I'm just thinning out my hand as much as I can to draw with the barrel. I would really love to Iono them. So we Skwovet, and I'm going to use another Bibarel ability. And I whiff it, so that's kind of unfortunate. I guess I'll just Arven for Rare Candy just to take something out of my deck. I can Ultra Ball, thin my deck out a little bit. Grab that Gengar so they can't stick anything in the active. And knock out the Dialga. And I move the energy because like I was talking about with the Basket Legion, I don't want them to be able to knock me out, and if it went to the discard pile, they would almost certainly be able to just retreat this energy off the Greninja, and I think they need one more in the discard pile, and they would knock me out, and that would suck. So it looks like they're just sitting there staring at their hand, debating if they have a way to get another energy, but I think there's 15 in the discard pile right now, or 14, and these decks usually play either 16 or 17 energy, so I'm kind of thinking that I have this game won, and they do 300, so it's just 10 damage short. If they save the Vitality Band, they actually would have won this game, and we just attack and take the dub. Alright, I was between using this game and a game that I played against Lostina. I ended up going with this game because, I don't know, I think it's got better examples of what not to do, but it is with the list that I didn't end up liking. The other game with Tina, the person just kind of like decks themselves out. I think I would have won either way, but alright, so they just attach to their Frigibax and bench a Palkia and pass. That's interesting. I don't know why my first thought when I saw this combination of cards was, oh, that's weird, it's just a Palkia deck with Baxcalibur. But no, it's like a Chien-Pao deck with a Palkia. And I'm just looking through the deck, debating what to do, because this is a really weird hand. And I'm kind of forced to Ultra Ball away my Samurott, my Gengar to get a Pidgey, so that I can do like something next turn. And this is like one example of why I think the Bibarel was better, because that Pidgeot would be a Bibarel, and that would make that hand much simpler. To where now if they just have a boss's order to knock out my Gastly, like I'm not attacking for the foreseeable future. Even though this hand really doesn't look like I'm going to be attacking for quite a bit anyway. But they just knock out my Bidoof, that kind of sucks. I promote Pidgey because I'm going to evolve it and it has free retreat. I top deck an energy, which is kind of nice. Getting attachments is always good. And I'm just going to Pidgeot for Arven, just to get a couple like cards out of my deck. I can get the Arven for Buddy Poffin, and I have no TM. Oh, I took the TM Evos out. I don't know why I grabbed Buddy Poffin instead of just, or Arven instead of just Buddy Poffin. I think I was thinking that the deck still had TM Evos in it, and then I Arven and was like, oh, that's weird. There's no tools to grab with this. And yeah, so that's like another example of why I don't think the Pidgeot is as good, because you have to kind of cut the TM Evos, and then there's no tools to grab with Arven, and just grabbing only an item card from your deck isn't inherently like strong. Being able to get 2 cards is kind of nice. It's still, I don't know, I'm kind of torn on Arven. Like, it's a fine card, but it's just not like anything special. It's good in these stage 2 decks when you're just like trying to find candy and another piece, and as long as you get the rare candy, your deck's gonna start functioning. But I have to Iono because I don't play research in this deck, and I just need more cards in my hand. Even though they were dead drawing, like, I need to play the game too. I can't sit here and play the like pass and see who unbricks first game. And kind of the only way that I'm unbricking is by getting an Iono, so I'm gonna have to give them more cards eventually anyway. And they bench the Chien-Pao. They still don't get an Irida for Baxcalibur, and they're up 2 prizes. And I'm just hoping to attack this turn. Which, in order to attack, I just have to grab a Darkness Energy from my deck, which is unfortunate. And I choose to just start attacking instead of Ionoing and trying to hit energy and more stuff, because they missed, like, they're almost definitely getting an Irida off this next Iono, and I'll at least be attacking, and I can attack next turn as well. And hit them for 140 because of the Lake Acuity, and move the energy to the Bidoof. I really don't like putting keeping the energy, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's weird against Chien-Pao moving the energy, but I figure this is better because they're going to have to attach another energy to their active to attack me, which they'd rather not do. They'd probably rather like build up another energy on Chien-Pao, but now that they have the Baxcalibur going, they're going to do whatever they want anyway. A little Shivery Chill. They're going to knock me out this turn, it looks like, which is very unfortunate. But the one cool part about Baxcalibur is it accelerates from the hand. So every time they attach an energy, it's putting 20 damage on them. So that interaction I think is pretty cool. And the animation is really weird and takes a little longer than it should. But they're gonna knock me out and do 360 damage. And luckily I can Pidgeot for a Gengar EX and then double Dark Patch and Candy Gengar, but this hand kind of sucks. I'm not able to do very much, and I just Dark Patch to kind of like buy some time. I'm kind of thinking if I can risk it or not, and I can't because the rest of my candies are in my hand except for one, which those are really bad odds to hit it off of an Iono. It would be nice to disrupt their hand, but I can just retreat and knock them out luckily. And I get the league headquarters, and now I have Iono in my hand. If they're not able to knock me out this turn, I can definitely do something. But they immediately superior, which is kind of scary. So that's 4 energy. They need 2 more, but the Chi-Pow would get them the energy. The retreat would be the only problem they would have. If they had Prime Catcher, they could very easily win with just 3 energy or 2 energy on a Palkia would knock out my Pidgeot. But it does look like they're gonna end up attacking with Palkia. Whether they're gonna win the game or not, I'm not sure yet. But I am able to knock out their Palkia next turn, and I can Iono them to 2 cards, which they only have 3 in their hand, but 2 is less than 3, so that's good. And I would like to be able to attack with a new attacker, so I'm debating, like, do I Pidgeot and Candy Gengar first? I just kind of look through my deck. See, I have 1 Dark Patch and 3 energy. So I don't know if that was necessarily the correct play. I think I probably should have Iono'd and hoped to hit some combo of, like, 1 of the cards, or 2 of the cards either. I needed, what, Candy, Gengar, Dark Patch, Dark Energy? Yeah, that's super unlikely that I was hitting all those cards and being able to retreat and attack with a fresh Gengar. But they promote their Greninja, and they superior, so I'm just assuming that I lost, but this is why you never just concede or in real life, like, immediately tell your, like, say good game before your opponent has done the actions, because you never know what the person's actually going to do. They should have just attached to Greninja, attached 3 to Baxcalibur, retreated, and knocked me out. Then they would have won. But now they boss up my Manaphy, and they're gonna Super Cold to the Greninja, which is gonna leave it with 10 damage left. So now I'm thinking, oh, I just win, because I can Pidgeot for Radiant Alakazam, move 10 damage from the Bidoof to the Greninja, knock that out, and then knock out whatever else they promote. But they end up scooping because they forgot about the league headquarters. So we end up winning that one. Luckily, we should have lost. The opponent had everything in their hand to win, but that happens sometimes. People they tunnel vision on what they think they need to do to win the game, and they don't see the simple play right in front of them. It's definitely happened to me a bunch of times. It's one of the harder things, I think, for me at least. It was hard for me to get over when I first started playing. It actually took like a few years before I stopped tunnel visioning on certain plays consistently. I still do it every once in a while, but I try not to. Anyway, that's Gengar. It's definitely a fun deck. Hopefully they print something in the future that makes it a very viable deck for like regionals and stuff. But anyway, take care.